So the first card you have for your past is the Eight of Swords. Yes. Yeah, I'm seeing obviously someone feels very trapped, but I think what's happened is they've trapped themselves, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'll try and explain what I'm seeing. This is a family member, I think. This is someone who's a family member, and I'm seeing someone who's actually turned their back on a lot of people, maybe even in anger. There were some angry words that were said. I think they said some horrible things to people, some nasty words. And I think they might have said these words to someone, maybe even more than one person, actually. And I'm actually seeing people slamming doors. I think they slammed doors, maybe even on people, or they even slammed doors and walked away and yelled and screamed and said something quite nasty, quite hurtful to a lot of people. And I think now their words are trapping them, because what's happening is after they've said all these horrible things to people, they've found themselves in a situation where they need help, or they did at this time, and then maybe they needed some help from these people who they were horrible to and walked away from and slammed doors at. And now, of course, these people don't want to help this person, if this all makes sense. I hope it is. But I think, yeah, these were the kind of words that nobody could forget easily. Some, maybe they were the kinds of things that they couldn't forget at all, that you couldn't forget. If someone said these kind of horrible words to you, it's something that would stay on your mind for a long, long time. And so, yeah, they couldn't go back, like the woman on this card who's left this home behind her. She can't go back because these words are trapping her. She can't go forwards either because she needs help, and she feels that she can't go forwards without help. And she can, but that's how she feels. So she has a bandage or a cloth tied around her, and she's blindfolded as well. But they're loose. These two things are quite loose, so she'd be able to take them off and walk if she wanted to. But she has this kind of helpless kind of feeling that she's feeling. So I think this relative might be seeing their situation as a lot worse than it actually is. And I think the person or the people who they're asking to help them knew that. It wasn't just that they're upset with them and they didn't want to help them. It wasn't like that. That was a part of it. But I think they knew that this person could help themselves. I know that sounds harsh, but I think they were right about that. And I think this person who was very difficult and horrible, who's kind of trapped themselves, I think they're going to realize this in time, and I think they're going to move forward by themselves in time. I think that might be what happens, because I think they are probably going to come back a few times and try to ask for help. They're very persistent in that. But I think, I think at this time they could only see one way out of their situation, and that was asking for help. There were other ways. I think there were probably more than one way that they could get out of this. But at this time, that's not what they could see. They only could see themselves as being trapped. That's what I'm seeing. So the next card you have for your past is the Four of Cups. So you might have been one of these people who they turned their back on, actually. And I think whatever they said really, really hurt. I keep on seeing that. It was really hurtful. I keep on seeing doors being slammed again. And I don't know how long ago this happened, when they said these things and walked out or whatever, but I don't think it was that long ago, because I think none of these words have been forgotten. I think they're very clear in your mind, or whoever else it was. And I definitely, the feelings hadn't been forgotten. They're still definitely there, 100%. So, you definitely weren't offering any help at this time if it were you, but you might have been worrying about whether you should or shouldn't help them, even though you'd kind of, at this time, you didn't want to help them, but there was still a little part of you that might have been thinking, oh, maybe I should. It was like that. This card can be about a man who isn't grateful, who isn't appreciative of other people's kindness. So yeah, again, I'm seeing you might be wavering, or you might have been wavering about this, and you don't like to see people suffer, but they weren't suffering. They weren't suffering actually. There was a way that they could get out of this. Actually, there was more than one way that they could have gotten out of this, but maybe the way out of this might have been a bit of hard work for them, and I don't think they like hard work. I mean, that sounds horrible. I know I sound harsh, but that's what I'm seeing, and I can see this person. I can see how they're actually thinking. And they're thinking in a kind of a manipulative way. They're kind of trying to ask these people to help them. They're trying to get people to pity them, but they've actually really trapped themselves by their own words, because they really, if they're going to ask people for help, they really should think about what they're doing before that, but it's too late for them now. That's what I'm seeing there. So the last card you have, your past, is, yes, the devil. The devil. So I think you probably were directly involved in this in some way. Obviously, this is your reading, so it's probably that. Or it might be that a relative or some relatives that you're close to might be directly involved, and you're involved because you're trying to protect them. It might be that as well. It was definitely affecting you emotionally, and I think it still is now, actually. But again, this person saw themselves as change. They saw them as change. They thought, I'm chained to this. I can't get out of this. I'm trapped. I'm trapped. It's that kind of thing I'm getting around this. They thought they were chained to a bad situation they couldn't get out of. And I always see fear when I see the devil. They kind of feared everything. They didn't want to get themselves out of this. They were kind of afraid of what was going to happen and all of that kind of thing. So, if you look at the chains around the necks of this poor couple in this card, they're loose again, just like what I was seeing in the Eight of Swords. They're loose. They'd be able to lift their arms up if they wanted to and remove these chains. But the couple in this card isn't doing that. They're kind of stuck. They're staying as they are. And they're making themselves stuck. That's the point I'm trying to make in this. They weren't as helpless or in need as they were making out. And I'm sure this person felt as if they're in need. I'm sure they felt that, but there were so many ways that they could have helped themselves, but they didn't want to see it. They just didn't want to see that. They'd rather have someone else give them something or something like that. So if this is resonating with you again, and you start to feel kind of guilty about this, because I am seeing you wavering, I keep on seeing that. If you do feel guilty for not helping this person, think about, I'm not seeing someone who's destitute. I'm really, really not. I'm not seeing that this is someone without options. So, if you start to feel guilty, maybe ask yourself, if I needed help, would this person help me? I think they probably wouldn't. That's my opinion. That's just how I'm seeing this. That's what I'm feeling around this. And, I don't want to tell you what to do, but all I can say is that, they can help themselves. And I think that the only way that they'll be able to change their ways, change their outlook, will be by helping themselves. If they keep on asking for help and people keep on giving it to them, they're just going to fall right back down into that trap again. And then they're going to be in a position where they're asking again. That's what I'm seeing. And that sounds harsh, I know, but this is what I'm seeing, and I have to tell you this. So the first card you have, your present, is the Empress. So yeah, I love the Empress. Obviously, she's the opposite of the horrible old, ugly old devil. She's loving, she's nurturing, she's caring, and that's how you are, and that's why you're wavering backwards and forwards. You do have a certain amount of unconditional love, I think, for all of your relatives. Even if they behave like this person, the way this person's behaving. The Empress cares about everyone. She has 12 stars in her crown, and this represents every sign of the zodiac. So she cares about every single person, everyone. She has enough love for everyone. But sometimes loving someone doesn't mean giving them things. Sometimes it means sitting back and letting them learn what they need to learn. Sometimes loving means that you need to be hard on someone sometimes. Again, I sound like a horrible, hard person, and you might be thinking that, especially if you're wavering and you're worrying about them. But they're not going to learn. They're going to keep on going back and back and backward and forward and asking people and going back again and asking people and going back again, and then getting angry and slamming doors and all of that, burning bridges again. They're going to have to stand on their own 2 feet, and they're going to have to learn this for themselves. So the next card you have for your present is the Seven of Swords. Yes, I am trying to give you messages about other things. I am really, but I just keep on seeing this person over and over and over again in this reading. That's just what I'm seeing. So you must be directly involved in this in some way if this is resonating with you. So, you know, the man in this card, he's carrying these swords, he's stealing these swords actually. But what I'm seeing here is that, again, if you gave this person help in the form of money or whatever they're asking for, it might feel at the time, or it might seem as if you're helping them. But as soon as they take whatever it is, it would actually be hurting them, because then, you know, it would take them even longer to learn this lesson. So yeah, same thing again. So the man on this card, he's looking back and he has his little smile on his face. He's like, ha ha ha, I've gotten away with this. I've stolen these swords. Look at me, I've got what I want. He thinks he has what he wants. But, you know, he's carrying these swords by their blades. He's going to hurt himself. So if you give this person what they want, it's not going to help them. It's going to hurt them. That's the message of that card. And I know I've said it again and again. I'm not going to say any more about this. I'm going to try not to unless it comes up again. So the last card you have for your present is the Ace of Pentacles. So yes, I'm so glad you have this card. You finally have a message about something else. And this is positive as well. So phew. So yeah, I'm actually seeing the potential for new love in this card. And I'm seeing potential because that's what the aces are about. They're about the potential of something amazing growing. So yeah, this is a new opportunity. This is something new. So it might be someone who you're already talking to, and you're just getting to know. It might be a friend, but it's the potential of new love coming up. And I think this has really great potential for you. It really has the potential to develop into something really stable, really lasting. And yeah, this person is a really hard-working person. They're a very stable person. They enjoy working hard. They love the challenge of working hard. And they might even have their own business or something like that, because I'm seeing a very independent person who works hard. This is someone who also isn't afraid to be a bit different to everyone else. They're not afraid to walk by themselves in a different direction to other people, if that makes sense. The path on this card is, you know, it's a golden path. It's the path to success, but it's a narrow path. So not many people can fit onto this path. This is one of the few people who can fit onto this path. They're one of the few people who can understand success. They understand what success is. And the Ace of Pentacles is all about success. So this person sounds really, really amazing, actually. So I hope this is resonating with you. I really do. And I really hope that you are talking to someone, or you're friends with someone, or you know someone who this could be about. Because I'm seeing over time, over a kind of, you know, over time, I mean, this isn't going to be quick. I mean, over time, I'm seeing this person gradually coming closer to you and closer to you. And I think as time goes on, it'll be very clear as to who that is, if it isn't already. So the first card you have for your future is the Three of Wands. So again, this is going to develop very, very slowly. This is a really nice connection between you and this other person in the Ace of Pentacles, but it is going to happen slowly. And again, they're an amazing person. They really are. They're not afraid to take risks. I'm not seeing that. but they're a very stable person, they're a very secure person, they're busy as well. So this is going to take a long time. They're very slow about coming forward to you. I think they're going to kind of take their time to do that. They want to make sure that you're the right person for them. They want to make 100% sure that they're making the right decision. And, you know, also, again, as I was seeing, they're a busy person. So, you know, they might not have a lot of time as well. But you're a busy person too, so try not to be too anxious around this if they are taking their time around this, because I think that they are going to do that, and you might be left wondering, oh, are they actually interested in me or not? You know, I don't know, but they are. I can see that they are. And, you know, standing around waiting for them like the man on this card isn't going to make them hurry up any faster. It's not going to make them come towards you any quicker. I think, you know, they definitely find you attractive. I'm seeing that. So please don't worry about this. I can see that they really do like you. They do really like you. They do want to come towards you. So, you know, try to stay calm if they're taking their time. Don't read anything into it that isn't there, because I don't see that they have any problems with you or anything like that. So keep busy, keep yourself busy, stay calm. Whatever you do, don't stand around waiting for them, because that's not going to help anyone. The next card you have for your future is the Three of Swords. Yes. So yeah, back to this again. Yeah, I'm seeing it again. So this situation in the Eight of Swords, this was centered around you, them, and another person, three people. So I could see that before. Now I can see that really clearly in this card. And I think this person might have tried to get in between you and another person. Maybe they were trying to play people off each other, to kind of manipulate people to get what they want. Or they could have been trying to say one thing to you, one thing to another person, and all of that thing. They were trying to get what they wanted, and they were trying to do whatever they could to do that. And yeah, one sword in this card is in between the other two, so that's why I'm seeing that. And yeah, I was seeing that they might come back a few times to try and manipulate you or someone, or try to get what they wanted, or ask again. And that's probably why I'm seeing this in the future. So if they haven't come back to you again, if this is all resonating with you for a start, if they haven't come back to you yet again, be prepared, be ready, because that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. They're going to come back and ask you again. I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired. I'm stumbling my words. So I hope this is all making sense to you. But yes, just be prepared for them to come back again at this time. So the last card you have for your future is the Hermit. So yes, two things in this. The only way that this person is going to learn is on their own. They're going to have to get by themselves, get themselves out of this by themselves. Then they're going to have to do a lot of thinking. They're going to have to do a lot of learning. They're going to have to really, really, really get their head on straight. That's what I'm seeing around this. Also, I think when this person comes back to you, they're going to try to manipulate you. I'm seeing that again. And so again, I'm seeing you wavering with whether you want to help them or not. Again, I don't want to tell you what to do, but you know what I think about this. Whatever decision you make, it has to be your decision. And I think if you're around this person who's trying to manipulate you, you're not going to make a clear decision by yourself. So at least if you're going to make this decision one way or the other, be by yourself like this Hermit while you're deciding on what you're going to do. That's all I'm going to say about that subject. And I'm sorry this whole reading has been about that, but I was getting this very, very clearly.